Hello, all you twinkly motherfuckers. Welcome to the first episode of the Paper Pals podcast, where we talk about emo music, and I'm here joined with my good buddy Lane from the Smooth Criminal channel.
Hey guys, hi everyone. I like music, emo. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is our gonna be our test run for the Paper Pals podcast. We're gonna talk about a bunch of emo music, maybe get a few interviews in. You guys might know me from the Theater of the Phantom YouTube channel. My name's Landon, and I'm also gonna be the host of this podcast. And we might have some other special guests on. We'll see what we can get done here.
yeah. We're hoping to do like some album reviews, just like talking about a lot of emo bands. We're like hoping to discover some new music through the podcast too. Just like trying to find bands and new artists to talk about. And if it gets big enough to where we have somewhat of an audience for this thing, we'll take suggestions for stuff to talk about. And hopefully interview like some smaller local, not well, maybe local bands, but maybe like smaller indie emo bands to talk about and get them more exposure and that sort of stuff. So that's what we're gonna try to do, and it's gonna be fun.
And I'm sure we'll be able to expand our horizons later on. Maybe get delve into some punk, maybe some nothing too hardcore, but delve a little bit out of the emo, little bit out of the emo area. But for
Yeah,
the most part, we'll be really digging into emo. So what are we gonna be talking about today, Lane?
today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite albums as of lately, which is the brand new Hot Mulligan album. Why Would I Watch, which came out what May? Yeah, May 12th to be exact.
Yeah, not too
Of
long
this
ago.
year.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a
if
fucking banger.
Lane uploads the visuals, you will see that my profile picture is Mully.
Yeah, it's the
It's
You'll Be
it's
Fine cover. My
it's
profile
the John
picture,
Mulligan.
the John Mulligan. My profile picture used to be the album cover for the new Hot Mulligan because I just love the album cover too.
Oh yeah,
Just like a little side thing.
they uploaded on their Instagram. They posted a bunch of like alternate takes of the whole I don't know what you call those. It's not like a camera, but it's one of the things that you click it like a camera, and then you get like the pictures that you know
Yeah, I
those
don't know what you
it's
call
like
it.
the
I just love the aesthetic of it. Like it's just like a guy. I just call him a ghost. He's not really a ghost, but it's like a guy and he's got like a sheet over him and he's taking the photo, but he can't see the photo.
Yeah,
I just love it. I think it's their best cover.
it's a very fucking awesome album cover. Definitely one of their best. This is to me one of the best Hot Mulligan albums, if not the best Hot Mulligan album out of the three that have been released.
No, yeah, I 100% agree. And this is the thing, I posted like about a day or two after I heard the album. I posted on Reddit asking people what they thought of the new Hot Mulligan album. I got a lot of comments saying, "I'm sick of hearing about this band. Like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares." And secondly, I got a lot of people saying that they disagreed with me, and they said that "You'll Be Fine" is actually their best album. And like, I totally see it. I fucking love that album too. But when it comes to what I want from a Hot Mulligan album, I just feel like Why Would I Watch like hits all the boxes. Like You'll Be Fine is fucking awesome. Like it's got some amazing songs on it. And I think probably it's their most consistent album front to back. But just Why Would I Watch? It's the perfect Hot Mulligan album for me. It's got a good mix of Pilot and You'll Be Fine.
It's definitely a new sound for the band, and I really do enjoy it. And going on the whole thing of Hot Mulligan fans is that I see a lot of divide on what albums are the best, because I've heard that Pilot is the best, I've heard that Why Would I Watch is the best, and I've heard You'll Be Fine is the best. I've heard a lot, but overall we can agree that Hot Mulligan is probably one of the best modern emo bands like coming out right now. So no matter what you think, you gotta admit that Hot Mulligan is doing really fucking amazing. This album in itself, even if it's not the best, is incredibly fucking good.
Yeah, for real. I even the people that are saying it's not their best are still admitting that it's a fucking jam and they're bopping it. And yeah, Hot Mulligan. Honestly, they're probably at the forefront of the emo scene right now. Probably, I would say the front bottoms, but I feel like Hot Mulligan, especially with this new album coming out, have become like more relevant and more like important. Obviously the front bottoms have a new record coming out, and I'm hoping to see them on tour. We'll definitely talk about the front bottoms, and everyone fucking
Yeah,
loves the front bottoms.
most definitely.
Uh, Yeah, love them. But yeah, I feel like Hot Mulligan are really paving the way right now in terms of like emo music because they're known like outside of emo too. I'd say like there's a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to know them that know them now, and they have a lot of really well known songs. Actually, I found Hot Mulligan through TikTok. Some guy was covering their song. I fell in love with Princess Peach, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually like a really good song, and ended up checking them out through that. So like I'm able to find them through so many places I wouldn't really expect to find music like this. So they're expanding outside of even their little niche or area that they're most well known in. So they're gonna. I feel like they're only gonna get bigger. They've only gotten bigger and bigger with every album, and more people are finding them. So yeah, I feel like I saw a comment whenever I posted on Reddit, and they were like, something to the tune of, "I don't think this band is ever gonna peak. I don't even think they're at their peak yet, and they might not even peak." And like honestly, with each album, I think honestly getting better as they go on. I honestly agree with that, and I feel like they're gonna get like better and better and better as the albums go. And I mean, I'm honestly I'm excited to see what happens after this record. Like I'm obviously still jamming this thing to death, but I'm really excited to see where they go afterward.
Yeah, definitely. And also, one more tidbit about the podcast, by the way. Before people get all salty, sack, butthurt about this shit. We are going to be covering things that are not morally the best, but we separate the art from the artist here. So we are going to be covering bands that even if you don't like them, you can go fuck yourself because they sound great.
But yeah, that's a big thing I wanted to do with the podcast is talk about bands that are shunned because the members are the greatest or
Blue
there's
Diamond.
something controversial. Lou Diamond.
Blue Diamond.
We're gonna be talking about Lou Diamond a lot on this podcast, so if that's something you're not into. But this is the thing, we don't support Lou Diamond. We don't like Lou Diamond and what they did. But the music is fucking great, and I think it's a good discussion to have separate the art from the artist. So when we do end up talking about bands like Jank or Panucci's Pizza or whatever the hell you want to get into,
We'll probably
um,
cover brand
it,
new at some point.
oh, absolutely. I love Brand New. We'll definitely be talking about Brand New, tiny moving parts. Bands where there have been allegations made and allegations that have actually broken up the band. It'll be a good discussion to have where we'll be able to talk about separating the art from the artist and just the morality behind all of it because I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about that and they just kind of write off the music or write off the band simply because there is something wrong. You don't have to agree with the artist if you like the music. Like you don't have to give up the music just because the person who made it is like has done morally reprehensible things. Like you can find other ways to listen to the music without giving them any money. It's not too hard. Um you don't have to like the person and you don't have to agree with what they did. And that's a big thing that we I do want to hammer home with the podcast because for some reason the emo and indie scene has so many pedophiles and so many really awful people. Not even just pedophiles, like fucking McCafferty, bro. Like Nick Hartcobb is not, as far as I know, never like assaulted an underage girl, but he's also like a massive piece of shit. So it's I don't know what the deal is with like emo bands and like the whole indie scene having terrible people, but that's it's because of that I feel like it's something that I wanna talk about a little bit whenever we do get to bands like that.
But in its whole, we do not give emo music that name of having. There are some bad eggs in it, but of course we have bands like what we're covering now, Hot Mulligan, and there are hundreds of other emo bands that we'll be going over that people they're very well known and they're really big. But of course you do got to be aware that we are not going to hold back on what we talk about. We are just going to, if we like the music, then we're going to get into it and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to separate the art from the artist. So that is just something that should be known when coming into this podcast. And if you don't like that, then you can suck on these balls.
It's like on these nuts, motherfucker.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Hot Mulligan.
Yeah.
Hot Mulligan.
Yeah, Hot Mulligan. I fucking love these guys.
Yeah, so first thing I want to point out with this album is something that really standed out to me, that me and you and Lane got my live reaction to this, was the transition between Shouldn't Have a Leg Hole But I Do and It's a Family Movie, She Hates Her Dad. That was probably one of the cleanest transitions I've ever heard.
Absolutely. I remember actually whenever I first listened to the album, I accidentally had it on shuffle, so I accidentally had John the Roxina. Can you smell what the Undertaker as the first song on the album? And I didn't notice that I was listening to it in the wrong order until like halfway through that song. So it was kind of weird, but it's I've gotten used to shouldn't have a like hole, but I do opening the record. And when I first listened to the album, I didn't even notice that the track transition, like it's such a perfect transition between the two songs, and I have to have if it's a family movie, she hates her dad afterwards. It's such a good transition, and it's a family movie is one of the best songs on the album too.
Oh yeah, easily. It's a family movie. Teacher Dad is definitely one of my favorites, along with No Shoes in the Coffee Shop, which was actually accompanied with a music video recently. I think it is one of the biggest songs on the album currently. Next to probably Scoff is on. That might be just above it, but I think No Shoes in the Coffee Shop did actually get like a lot of recognition when this album released. So to me, No Shoes in the Coffee Shop and It's Family We Hate Your Dad is one of my favorite, or two of my favorite tracks on this album.
Yeah, I just love those two songs opening the record like that, back to back. Um, and yeah, in terms of my favorite songs on the record, my actual probably my favorite Hot Mulligan song of all time actually is John the Roxina. Can you smell what the Undertaker? Which is really weird to say that my favorite song of all time by a band is off of an album that isn't even a month old yet. But just it's like quintessential Mulligan to me. Like it starts out and it's got these really self-deprecating lyrics, and then you've got Tade's like screaming for a lot of the song. That song and Christ Alive, My Toe Damn It Hurts. Like near the end, he's just like screaming, and I think his vocals are actually probably the best they've ever sounded on this album, especially the little screams that he does. On John the Roxina and Christ Alive, My Toe Damn It Hurts specifically, but he does let out a few on other songs. He just sounds so good and like so confident on this record, which is weird to say about an emo band, like confidence in vocals. But if you go back and listen to Pilot, and even stuff before that, like the Fenton EP and whatever else you want to talk about without Mulligan, the earlier stuff but on Pilot specifically, like his vocals have greatly improved, and there's like a more of a presence and punch to them, I think. And on this record specifically, I think he's absolutely knocking it out of the park with the vocals. And John the Roxina is probably one of his better vocal performances, and I think that's a big reason why I like it so much. But also just because it's catchy as fuck.
Yeah, can we also real quick? Can we get a hashtag tits out for Tades real quick for all of you watching?
Absolutely, it's up for
Hashtag
Tates,
tits out for
bro.
Tades. Um, one thing I do love about Mulligan is they did a live performance. I don't know if it was recently. I think it was recently when they were talking about the new album on stage, but they had said that over the years their album names or their song titles have gotten worse and worse, and they will keep going until it is no longer legible English, which is very much appreciated, and is also shown by the second to last track on the album, "Schmacked My Head Off." And
Okay, wait. Uh, okay, continue. Never mind.
yeah, and of course this song is called what it's called.
The song is called. It's called. Okay, no. What's the best title on the album?
Ooh, Cock Party 2. Better than the first.
That's what I was gonna say.
Cock Party 2 better than
Either
the first.
Cock Party 2 is really good. This song is called It's Called What It's Called, which is also a banger. But I'm just gonna say John the Roxina just because I remember I was listening to the album and reading through the song names because my sister was downstairs when I was listening to the album, and she has no fucking clue about Hot Mulligan. I was like, "Hey, when a band I like just released an album, and the song titles are kind of funny. Can I read them to you?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And so I was reading through them. When I got to John the Roxy, and she just like burst out into laughter. I'm like, "Is that one really that funny?" Like, I didn't think it was that funny at first, but the more I like read it, it's just like kind of stupid. And it's like John the Roxina, can you smell what the Undertaker? Love it.
Yeah, and since this is, of course, an emo podcast, get used to the dumbass song titles that you're gonna hear.
Yeah,
Especially,
that's like one of my
especially
favorite
once we
things
delve
about it.
into Panucci, that's when things are gonna get a little wild.
Bands like Panucci, the song titles are so long that like sometimes they don't even fit on Spotify.
Remember when the Trojans bought that horse and they were like, "Yeah, this is totally a gift." That's how sure I am.
Yeah, on the All the Toppings album, it's not even featured all the way. It's so good.
Yeah, and there's but we're not talking about that. We're sidetracking. We're talking about Why Would I Watch by Hot Mulligan. We keep getting sidetracked, and it's probably gonna happen a lot, but whatever. So um again, dude, this is like easily one of the best songs, and I will stick with you by saying Tades gives an amazing performance on this album, along with fuck, what's his name? He does a lot of the vocals on this album actually. Chris.
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
does a lot. He actually kills, like, he fucking kills this album. Both of them together, they do a lot of switch offs on this album, which is like they fucking kill this album. Their vocals are insanely fucking good, and a lot of the riffs are super super catchy on Chris's part. Like, "No Shoes in the Coffee Shop" is understandable on why that's one of the biggest songs that have come out of this album. It's such a fucking catchy song. In that chorus, it just gets stuck in my head all the fucking time.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, I do like Chris's voice a lot. And one of my favorite standout songs with his vocals is Green Squirrel in Pretty Bad Shape from You'll Be Fine, because that's like all him. And there are points when I like his voice a little bit more than Tade's, and then I go and listen to a song with Tade's on it, and it's like, shit, dude. Like they're really hard. They both got really great voices. I think Tade's is a little bit more unique, and Chris's is more like standard, like traditional, what you'd expect from an emo song. And I think Tade's is a big reason why they stand out from the start. Is just his voice is really unique. But I love like songs where they switch off like that. There's a song on Pilot that I'm thinking of where they do that. Um, that's like really specific. It'll come to my mind later, but that's another one that I really like where they kind of switch off.
Yeah, and then something they had no business doing was releasing the song Betty on it. I know Hot Mulligan is supposed to be very depressing, but fuck you, I did not need to think about that.
No, for real. Betty. I think Betty is their saddest song, and they're obviously an emo band, and there's a lot of sad and like self-deprecating lyrics on the album and talking about
This
sad
isn't
situations. But
self-deprecating though. This is I picked her ashes. I got her ashes from the vet today, dude.
no, no, for real. That's what I was gonna say. It's just like I know that that's what a lot of their songs are supposed to be sad, but this is like the most straightforward sad song that they've ever done. Like I talking about people is one thing, but a fucking pet, bro, like that's when shit stings, and that's when it hurts, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
it hurts
very,
so bad.
very, very
And the
fucking
whistling
sad.
too, man, it's very rare for a song to get stuck in my head like that first listen. But man, the whistling on Betty was like instantly stuck in my head. It's like it's a sad song, but it also gets you like it gets stuck in your head, which also sucks because it makes you sad for the rest of the day. Like, goddamn, man, that song hits so hard.
Yeah, it's a good song, but it's really fucking depressing. And one thing I did want to go
Mm-hmm.
over was I think very solid choices for singles on this album with Gon's Media Retro Games and Golf is On. I think those are two very solid picks for the album. I've heard arguments that the best song should have been chosen as singles for like No Shoes and The Coffee Shop should have been released as a single instead of I think they said Golf is On. And I don't think that's a very good argument because I think having one of the greatest songs on the album, No Shoes in the Coffee Shop or It's a Family Movie, I don't think they should be released as singles, or else you probably would have heard the best of the album. So I think what they chose for to release as the singles, I think they did an amazing job with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Golf is On and Gans Media Retro Games, I think, are really good singles. Um, I do think they are some of the. God damn it. I'm burping my fucking head off. I think yeah, those I think those are honestly some of the best songs on the album too. But they're like they're more structured to like a standard single from a band as opposed to some of the other tracks on the album. So I think they were the absolute perfect choice. By the way, I fucking love the Gans Media Retro Games video where they're like wrestling and shit. It's so absurd, and I don't think I would have liked it if it was any other band doing it. But it's Hot Mulligan, and they know how to be funny and stupid with it, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, oh dude, I love that music video. And then I don't know if you saw the No Shoes in the Coffee Shop video. It's a really fucking cool video. Some cool visuals in there during the performance scenes that I really fucking enjoy where, everyone's just taking their shoes off and it's like a, a small venue show. It's really fucking cool. And then along with that chorus, that chorus in that song, I cannot stress enough, is so fucking good.
Oh my, yeah, one of their best choruses. Isn't the video? Doesn't isn't this the one where Tade's like turns into sand or some shit at the end of it?
Yeah,
Or am I thinking? Yeah,
Tades turns into sand because Chris, I think, like, daps him up or some shit.
yeah,
Yeah, like, yeah, he just daps him up and then he just evaporates after getting
yeah.
electrocuted.
That is one of the best songs in the album. I think yeah, it's overall a really consistent listen. It's just from front to back really fun. As sad some of the songs are, and honestly, yeah, the track listing is also really well done because it goes from a song like "Christ Lied My Toe Damn It Hurts," where like half of the song is just Cade screaming, and then goes into a song like "Betty." It works really well, just like the loud and quiet dynamic with the tracks in some points. And I think having like the singles both near the end of the album is really good too, because one of my pet peeves in music is when artists take the singles and shove them all towards the beginning of the album. Like you're instantly making the album front loaded, and people who are coming into the album that have like a really short attention span are not gonna listen for much longer after that. So like putting the singles near the end of the album's a fucking great decision. And John the Rock is a great closer. So yeah, I love how it's structured too.
Yeah, the structure on the album is super fucking good. The track listing is, I think it's fucking perfect. And I do want to point out that it does go from I got her ashes from the vet today to Cock Party 2, better than the first. The track listing is really fucking good. Also, a lot of the songs, a good, like, I'd say like 75 to 80% of the songs, they have these cool accompanied outros with them. Of like, I think it's just like behind the scenes of the band. Like there's one I think on I think it's on maybe And I Smoke, or it's one of the first few songs where it's just Tades yelling use the hi-hat.
Yeah, it's like little behind the scenes stuff, and it's in kind of a sense it makes you feel like you're either in the studio with the band listening to them like play the songs live, or you're at a show, which I think is really cool, and it kind of like gives a little insight onto the album. Yeah, I liked the transitions. They were a little weird at first, and I remember you specifically said you didn't really like them upon first listen, and I didn't really either. But listening through the album, I think it gives each song a little bit more room to breathe before the next one starts. And like I said earlier, with the whole like thing about listening to them play, I like the little transitions. I think they're neat.
Also, I do recommend hopping on the Hot Mulligan Instagram and looking at the outtakes for the album cover, because there are a lot of really fucking cool ones. And what I was gonna say is that the outros, I kind of realized that listening to it, it does not only give the other songs a little more time to breathe, but I think the outros, the way they put the effects on them, it kind of feels, it feels very dreamlike in a way. Very, it feels like it's in a dream, and it fits the vibe of the album and the album cover. And when you look at all the outtakes of the album, it the entire album is themed super fucking well. And it's just everything on this album, I think, was made fucking perfectly. Like the vibe of the album, the track listing, all the songs, I think is perfect, and it makes this album one of the best Mulligan albums.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with the like. I think the aesthetic and just the vibe of everything is so good. Like with the outtake photos and the cover, I just love the colors they chose, and I just everything about the album. I think it's their best album, man. So many. There's an argument to be made for "You'll Be Fine." I 100% see it. There's an argument to be made for "Pilot." I totally see, especially "Pilot." That was the first Mulligan album I heard, and it's also fucking great. But why would I watch this? Gives me everything I want out of a Mulligan album. It's got the sad songs, it's got some jams that can make me have fun, and just and then it's got the straightforward, more standard what you'd expect from any other Mulligan album. And it's also got them trying some new things out and kind of experimenting a bit. And I really like that. On songs like this song is called, it's called what it's called, and Betty. I just like what they're doing right now. I like what they're doing on this record. I think they do it exceptionally well. I personally, I'll stand by this being their best record, unless they put out something that's better than that, which I would not doubt, considering that they've only gotten better since their first album. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do in the future. I hopefully they fucking come around me and I get to see them because I love Hot Mulligan. And yeah, this new album is fucking phenomenal. If you haven't heard it for some reason, I know it's been like talked up to death and like everyone's been excited about it. But you got to hear it. It's so good. I think it's their best album. But don't just listen to me and just come to your own conclusions. Listen to the album for yourself. Don't just listen to me and be like, oh yeah, look, oh, listen to it for yourself and come up with your own opinion about it.
Yeah, definitely check out this album and listen to the rest of the Mulligan discography. And it's been what I think around just about 25 minutes. Do you think for a test run we down to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think this is a good test run. I think we could end it around here.
So yeah, this was a test run for our new podcast, Paper Pals. Should we give insight on what just to extend the time a bit? Should we give insight on what Paper Pals is supposed to be?
Yeah. Let's give an insight on Paper Pals. So, uh, the title Paper Pals. Okay, one of our favorite bands collectively is Origami Angel, and they have an album called Gummy Gang.
Well,
So,
first, what it is. First, what it was that I made a joke being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna start an emo band called Paper Demon as a play on Origami Angel," and then that led to me making a Photoshop of their second album, Gami Gang, and I just I turned it into Paper Pals, and we were deciding on names for the podcast. So Lane was just like, "Oh yeah, let's call it Paper Pals," and I was like, "Ah, oh, that's a funny little name." And now here we are doing the first episode of the Paper Pals podcast.
yeah, Paper Pals. I love the name of it. It's and once we get to Gummy Gang, it's just gonna be if I'm sure we'll review Gummy Gang.
Oh yeah, we'll probably go over
It'll
the Gami discography at some point. Probably after they release their new mixtape, we'll probably end up going over it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I have so many thoughts and feelings and opinions on everything they've ever done. Because I fucking love them and they're one of the best bands ever. But yeah, that's where the name comes from. Paper Pals. It's pretty funny, and you better laugh at it.
Yeah. So, Hot Mulligan 2023 album. Why would I watch? This was just a test run for the podcast. If you did enjoy it, please share it. Let everybody know. Tell Nate the Mate to come back, and then we will single handedly get Mobo an interview and bring them back together if this podcast gets popular, and that is a guarantee.
Yeah, we're gonna reunite modern baseball single handedly with our own bare fists, hands,
And then
and we.
Nate the Mate is gonna be like, "Oh my God, they're actually doing it," and he's gonna come back too. And then everyone's gonna stop being mad at Lou Diamond, and they're gonna have a jank reunion. That's what's gonna happen if
Well,
you share
I
this
don't know if
podcast.
that's a good idea, but we gotta get
Shut
Nate
up.
the
Let it
Mate back.
happen. Let it happen. Yeah. So, just a test run for the podcast. Genuinely though, if you did like it, please share it. Let people know we're trying to get this podcast out there. This is something we both really enjoy doing. And check out our channels, Theater of the Phantom. It'll probably be linked in this video, and then this will probably be uploaded on Lane's channel. If not, then go subscribe to him on his channel, The Smooth Criminal. And yeah. Any closing remarks, Lane?
No, not really. I'm just excited to. I'm excited to kick the podcast off. I'm excited to talk about like my favorite genre of music ever.
Comment what you want us to talk about. We'll probably end up learning about some new music, listening to some new stuff, and then talking about a band that you might be into, and probably hopefully get some guests on from maybe some local scenes or some bands that don't have much of a following. And yeah. So this has been Paper Pals, right, Lane?
This has been pen pals. This has been Paper
This has
Pals with
been
Landon
Midwest
Doyle.
Paper Pals.
This has been Midwest Paper Pals. Oh my god, I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah, we'll probably go over Midwest Pen Pals soon at some point. But yeah, thank you for if you listened all the way, and if you're sharing this podcast, thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next episode then.
Yeah, see you fuckers.
No.